Who am I and why should you listen to me? Well, I'm guessing most of you guys that are on the call right now, you already know who I am. But for those of you that don't, okay, I've been called the lifestyle king of the digital space, and I routinely generate hundreds of sales daily, which translates to between $100,000 and $180,000 each month. Now, there's a lot of other people making that kind of money, but what makes me uniquely qualified to help you is how fast I went from nothing to these numbers, and I'll talk to you about this on the call today. So as you can see, here's some of the numbers that I've generated over the past year. In particular, this one right here, I've generated over $1 million back in 2019 last year. And this is a massive milestone for me. Now, just to prove to you guys that this is all legit and I'm not talking out of my downstairs, I'm going to go into my accounts. I'm going to show you. Okay, so this is one of my accounts here. See Jono2690. In the past 30 days, I've done over just under $60,000 there. This is my Stripe account. You can see between the 12th of April and the 12th of May, I've done £30,000, which is about almost $40,000. In JVZoo, there's some more six-figure earnings inside of there. And if I go to my other Warrior Plus account, you can see Jono Armstrong here, another $155,000 in the past 30 days. Now, this all came in, most of this $1 million all came in 2019. I'm going to prove this to you right now. If I go into my account, I can see my history here. And if I go down here, you see there's a few things from 2017, 2018, which stops here. 2019 begins here. Now, the 2018, 2017 stuff is nothing really dramatic, as you can see here. But from 2019 onwards, you can see how much I've been withdrawing on a pretty much weekly basis. There's a couple of $100,000 withdrawals there. Another one there. There's a 20,000, 20,000, 20,000. So all of this is pure profit, you know, and it's using the system that I'm about to share with you on this call right now today. Now, while I'm in here, let me just go back because I think I have some money available right now. Yes, I have $27,000 available right now, which I'm going to withdraw. Let's just withdraw 20K. And let's withdraw it directly to my bank account. Withdraw funds. 20K live right in front of your eyes. What would you do if you were in my position right now? You went into your account and you just withdrew 20 grand. What would you do with that money right now? Just type in what you would do with some of that money. With 20 grand, it's a lot of money. You could buy a car with that. You know, you could buy a really nice motorbike. What are some of the things that you would do? Pay bills, pay credit off. Go put a down payment on a house, buy put off my truck, pay off the mortgage. Yeah, loads and pay off debts. I would buy a car, buy Bitcoin. Yeah, that's a good idea. Pay bills, celebrate. Yeah, well, that's the kind of things that's possible with this. You can see I've still got another 8,000 in here, which is pending, and another 7,000, which I could withdraw right now, but I'm not going to. But this is just to show you guys that this is 100% legit, right? Okay, and that's who I am. And that's why you should kind of listen to me as well. All right, so a few questions for you guys. Would you like to work from home? Would you like to work from a resort or the beach, which I do all the time? Would you like to make more money than you ever could at a job? Would you like to quit your job, be your own boss, and set your own schedule? Or even would you like to make a couple of $1,000s on the side per month without altering your existing lifestyle? Put a number 2 if that's why you're here. Put a number 2 if that, yeah. Okay, lots and lots and lots of number 2s coming through. Awesome. Okay, well, I'm glad that's why you're here because I'm going to show you how to do this, right? Now, a quick overview of today's training for those of you that have just jumped in. I'm going to show you the fastest shortcut to making $10,000 per month by following a paint-by-numbers process with a twist that nobody else is doing. With only a computer, a laptop, internet, and the skills that you already have. From anywhere in the world, okay, regardless of what country you're living in, or even if you travel a lot like I do. Well, not right now, obviously, but I like to travel. I'll also show you how to scale this model to 6 figures per month, like I'm doing personally right now, without any technical skills, without any hard costs, in fact, without no costs whatsoever. Does that sound awesome? Yep. Okay. So I'm going to show you how to skip the hard part because when I discovered how to do this, I went through this massive journey, which I'll talk to you about in a second, until I discovered this rinse and repeatable system. So I'm going to allow you to skip all of this trial and error and frustration and get straight to this point. Okay. Now, who is this workshop for? It's for people who are sick of your job. Okay. If you're in a soul-sucking 9-to-5 and you want more out of life, this is for you. Okay, if you're a homemaker and you want more quality time with your family, with your kids, this is for you. Or even if you're a freedom seeker like myself, who loves to travel and you want a portable business that you can take with them, or you can take with you anywhere in the world. Yeah, this is the most fantastic thing about this. It's great for people who enjoy traveling. It's also for retirees who want to enjoy their golden years in complete financial comfort. Or if you're just looking for an additional source of income, if you're happy with your financial situation at the moment and you just want to make an additional couple of $1,000s as a side hustle, you can use this system too. Now, here's what you don't need, okay? You don't need an audience. You don't need any kind of social media following. You don't need a Twitter. You don't need Instagram. You don't need Pinterest. And you don't need Facebook to do this, okay? Now, we're also not going to be drop shipping. We're not going to be sending anything from China. We're not going to be queuing up at the post office to send parcels to customers, okay? You don't need clients either. You don't need to deal with any clients. In fact, you don't need to deal with anybody at all. You can completely do this as a one-man show. Now, you can get started with this for 100% free of charge, okay? You don't need to have any kind of investments or hard costs. Does that sound good? Put a number 2 if that sounds good to you. Yes, okay, lots of number 2s coming through. Nice, right. So I've had a lot of people that have asked me to take this presentation down just because the amount of information that I'm revealing, and other people have been charging for this kind of information, but I wanted to give you guys this information for free, and I'm not going to be taking this down no matter how many people ask me to, because I think this information should be readily available to everybody so that anybody can get a head start with this, right? Now, some people who've attended this very call in the past have gone on to, like Badra here from India, within his first 3 days, he earned $498. Anantho here, within his first 3 days, he earned $887 with this. Bradley, he came in here and he earned $277 in his first day. And we got some bigger earners here. We got Amy, who's a single mum from the USA. She earned over $1,000 in her first 5 or 6 days. We've got Bauker here having his first $1,000 day with this system. We got Guy Potok, who's earned $4,300 in the last 30 days when he just got started. And we got people who've taken this system to the next level in 50 days. We've got Trevor Carr, who some of you may have heard of. He's using this exact system and he made over $200,000. We've got Tim Verdu here, who's from Holland. He made $40,000. He's actually making around $40,000 every single month with this. Now, all of these people are regular people. They don't have any special skills. They don't have any special education or experience. Many of these people have existing day jobs and commitments, so they've done this in their spare time. A lot of these people have 9 to 5s, okay? Most have never made a single dime online before this, and this is where their big breakthrough after watching this call. They just copied what I showed them, and they are reaping the rewards of this system. So, a quick disclaimer here, guys, okay? All of the results I'm showing inside this training are net profit. You're going to see a lot of presentations like this for stuff like drop shipping, and that's revenue that they're talking about. They're showing you all these massive numbers, but that's revenue. It's not profit. What I'm going to be showing you on this call is net profit. Everything that I showed you in my accounts before is net profit. Okay. Now, also, this is not a get rich quick or a push button loophole. It's not something that's going to work for a couple of weeks and then it goes away. This is a solid business model that you can use for months and years to come. Okay. Now, all the case studies shown are from real students as well. So I'm going to be showing you how to leverage other people's efforts to generate income, other people's efforts, so you won't have to do this on your own. I'm going to show you how to do this with completely free traffic, so you won't have to spend any of your own money either. And I'm going to show you how to scale this to the moon and 10x your results. Now, I'm not a guru. I'm not one of these guys who hangs around these flashy sports cars. I'm just a simple person that has actually cracked the code to making some really good money online. And I had no intention of sharing this information with anyone because, as you've seen, I'm already making some really good money online and I have no real need to. But I've had so many of my friends and my family and all of these random people asking me what I'm doing, asking me how I'm doing this. And I'm not able to get back to them in a simple email. So I decided to put this call together and show you guys in real time exactly how I'm able to do this. So like most other people in the world, I entered into what I like to call the system. And this is something that is conditioned into our minds since we're at an early age. You know, we're conditioned to go to school, to go to university, to get good grades and prepare ourselves for the real world, which means we would get into a full-time job for the next 40 plus years, working for somebody else and trading our time for money so that one day we can finally get our freedom. And this happens usually when we're about 65 or even 70 years old when we're able to retire, by which time we're not really able to enjoy our freedom as much as we would if we're in our 20s or 30s, right? And this system worked great for the past couple of hundred years until the birth of the internet. And this system got me into $50,000 worth of debt because I'd been to university and I got into debt because of that. So in order to pay that off, I got myself a teaching job. And I was a teacher from the year 2000 to the year 2009. This is a classroom where I was working in here in Jakarta in Indonesia. I was an English teacher. This is my boss right here. Okay, this is me back in the days. And I worked 40 hours a week. I got paid $1,100 a month, which is borderline breadline. Even over here in Indonesia, this is really not enough. And I had a 2-hour commute to and from the school every single day. And I did this for 9 years. And I look back at this 9-year period of my life and I quiver whenever I look back on this, because this is one of the worst times of my life. This was a real struggle, and I'm sure a lot of you guys on the call right now can relate to this. How many of you guys are working in a 9 to 5 job that you absolutely despise, for a boss that you despise, and you're getting paid pretty much minimum wage? You're trading your time for money, and you're putting in a lot of hours, and you're commuting to work. You're just basically surviving. How many of you guys can relate to this? Yeah, I see a lot of people engaging on this. Now, luckily, in 2009 to 2015, I kind of got out of this system because I became a professional musician. I'd been a musician since I was at school, and I took this to the next level during this time period. So I was making some decent money, but I wasn't quite out of the system because I still had managers telling me where I needed to be on the weekend for these gigs, and I was also doing a lot of acting as well during the week, and I had a manager telling me where to be there. So like many other people, I was chasing the dream, but I wasn't quite catching it. Now, all of this went down the toilet in 2015 when I got myself stupidly hooked on prescription medicine like Xanax and diazepam, and I mixed that with alcohol as well and just took it to another level of addiction. And as a result of this, I lost my job as a musician. My whole income went down the drain on buying these prescription drugs and buying alcohol, and I found myself completely addicted to this. So I decided to go to rehab in 2016. This is me. Check me out. This is a world away from what I look like right now. Look how sunken my eyes are into my face. So I went through this rehab, and it's pretty similar. I don't know if any of you guys have seen the film called Trainspotting from the 90s, but it was very, very similar to this experience where this guy goes through rehab and he's having hallucinations. He's seeing dead babies crawl across the ceiling. It was hell for 2 weeks straight. I was going cold turkey off of these prescription drugs. It was a horrible experience that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy, but after that 2-week period, I was clean, but I was still in $50,000 worth of debt. Okay, now I had to make a choice at this point in my life whether to go back to this teaching job because I'd quit the band. They weren't going to have me back. They'd replaced me. So this looked like my only option. The only thing that I was actually qualified to do was to go back to this classroom. And this is something that gave me nightmares. I really didn't want to have to go back to trading my money, trading my time for money, and go back to this classroom and work for somebody else and make somebody else rich. I really didn't want to have to do that. So I looked at my other options. Okay, and I'd have called you crazy if you'd have told me at that point in time that in 2 years from now I'd be a millionaire. I'd just call you crazy. But do you want to know how I did it? Just drop a number 2 in the chat box if you want to know how in 2 years I went from minus $50,000 to over $1 million. If you want to know how I did that, drop a number 2. Okay, I see a lot of people typing number 2s in the chat box. Okay, cool. So I thought, all right, well, what about starting a business? This is my plan B. Because if you look at all of the richest people in the world, like Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, they're all multi-billionaires. And they all have one thing in common. They're all business owners. So I thought, okay, well, even if I'm not a multi-billionaire, but what if I could just get a slice of this business pie? So I talked to my friends and my family, and I thought, well, what about starting a business? They all looked at me and thought I was crazy. And this kind of makes sense, right? Because if you look at how 99% of people go through life, they get into college for 3 years, they get into $40,000 to $60,000 worth of debt, and they go around the back. Okay, they're not going directly to their freedom, right? Because they think that they're blocked by these things: time, money, experience, luck. Because they think that they need all of these things in order to start a business which will get them quickly to their freedom. So they take the back route. They go to college, they get into this safe life, trading their time for money, working for somebody else, making somebody else rich for 30 to 40 years. And then they might get their freedom once they get retired, right? But they're blocked by these things here. So the reason people think this is because they're thinking about these types of businesses, like franchises. Like a McDonald's franchise is going to cost you $1 to $2.2 million just to get the franchise. Starbucks is going to cost you at least $315,000 just to get a franchise fee from Starbucks, right? It makes sense, right? And even the cheaper ones, like this cruise planners, it's going to cost them $11,000 just to get the franchise with an initial investment of up to $23,000. So you can see why people think that they're blocked by these things, because they're thinking about these traditional types of businesses. But what if there was another option, right? What if there was another option that allowed you to remove this block? And I'm talking about cash flow businesses here, because with cash flow businesses, like online businesses, like what I'm going to be teaching you about on this call today, the only thing that you need is your skill. Okay, the only investment is your time, and your leverage. It's leverage versus investment, right? So I investigated further, and I found that Amazon had what's called an affiliate program. So I tried this out, okay, and I made these little Amazon niche sites. But the problem here is that the commissions with Amazon is only 3%, so you have to drive a lot of traffic. Now, while it's passive, it's pretty much passive once you set these sites up and you get good freedom. The downside is you're not going to make much money. So I also tried out Shopify. How many of you guys have heard of Shopify or even tried it? Drop a number 2 in the chat box if you've heard or tried Shopify. Yeah, lots of number twos coming through. I tried this as well. The money was way better. I got this to work. I got this to make some decent money, but it was super time consuming. You know, I had to go back and forth with customers, sending them tracking numbers and dealing with refunds and dealing with the supplier and sending out shipping invoices and all this kind of stuff. It was super time consuming. It wasn't passive at all. And this is something I didn't like. I wanted a passive income. So the big aha moment here came when I discovered software and digital products, because unlike Amazon, the commission rate was 50 to 100%. Okay, there were instant payments instead of having to wait for 3 months like Amazon. There's a huge market. It's a multi-billion-dollar recession-proof industry, and this got me excited. And this is where the $5,000 a month system got started. So in 2017, this is the beginning of my trial and error days. I saw other marketers making thousands per day by selling software and digital products using this system. So I did like what most other people do, and I started buying traffic. And I spent around $200 on Google Ads, which is money that I didn't have because my mum was sending me money. But I did make a $13 commission, which proved to me that this system worked. I was just doing it wrong. And I discovered here that the real keys here are traffic. The traffic needs to be free, okay? In order for me to make this work, the traffic needs to be free. Write this stuff down, okay? Traffic, trust, sales. The trust is going to come from videos because everybody's watching videos online right now instead of just images, right? And then the sales are going to come from incentives, and I'm going to expand on these things later on, but make sure that you write these down. So during the trial and error, I learned that these three keys were crucial. So I crafted one last campaign based on these three keys with free traffic, with videos, with incentives. Now, did it work? Well, so far I'd spent over $500 on traffic. I was about to give in, and I went to bed super worried because if this didn't work out, I was going to have to go back to teaching English with this boss right here. And this is something, as you know, that I didn't really want to do. So the next morning I woke up and I had a $51.15 commission check in my account. This was April 2017. I was super pumped, but I wanted to make sure that this wasn't a fluke. So I plugged in the process again, and it made me $161. I plugged in the process again. It made me $171. I plugged in the process again, and I made $187.58. So I knew that this wasn't a fluke. This system that I discovered worked every single time. You can see this was June, I think, 2017. I'd made over $700 in that month. This was amazing. It felt like I had this win button on my desk that I could smash whenever I wanted to. All I needed to do was plug the system in again and again and again, and it made money for me. It was an awesome moment. And I knew at this point in time I would never have to re-enter the job market ever again. How awesome is that? Now, just to put all of this into perspective, I'm going to head over to my Facebook account so you can see in real time how this progression was made over this 2-year period. So this is me back in my drug days in 2016. Look how messed up I look there. This is when I was completely broke, okay? Now we're getting into beginning of 2017 around here. And you can see as I go forward, I probably had my first real breakthrough here. Well, this is beginning of 2018. So this is about 6 months after I discovered the system, and the system was starting to generate me multiple 3-figure days, you know, after I discovered that win button. So as we go forward, me and my wife were finally able to go on a budget holiday. We stayed in these $16 a night bungalows in an island in North Sumatra. We could have effectively stayed here for the rest of our life at this point because I was earning multiple hundreds of dollars a day. But that scaled up even more as we go forward. This is my first $1,000 day. Again, beginning of 2018. This is only 6 or 7 months after I discovered this system, right? And as you can see, from earning thousands of dollars a day, my lifestyle just got better and better and better. You see, we were finally able to start traveling in style, renting nice cars. We took the kids over to Bali. Had my first $5,000 day here in September 2018. This was just over a year of me discovering this system. This is super fast, and as you can see, as the progression goes through, we're able to go on more luxurious holidays. We took the kids away to Komodo Island. We bought some land over on this beach here in Indonesia. We went over to Canada. We're flying business class. We're staying in 5-star resorts. We're traveling pretty much every 3 weeks, and it just gets crazier and crazier and crazier as the progression goes through. You see right here, I was flying first class. But you can see basically what the system has done for me over this 2-year period. It's crazy how fast this has progressed from going from minus $50,000 in debt here into a 2-year period, and then me going to $1 million. So drop a number 2 in the chat box now if you can see, if it's inspiring to you that the system took somebody from minus $50,000 in debt to over $1 million within just 2 years. If you found that inspiring, please drop a number 2. Yeah, lots and lots of number 2s coming through. Well, I'm going to reveal how to do this on this call right now today. And it's not just my results, you know. It's not just me who's able to get awesome results. I've given this exact system to a handful of people, and they've all cashed in with it as well. You can see some of the results that these guys are getting on this page right here. Some within days. Look at this, 3 days. Badger made almost $500. Adam, within 4 days, making 3 figures, okay? It took me 6 months to get to this 3-figure day, but these guys are doing it literally within days, right? So, based on what I've told you just now, based on what I've experimented with Amazon and Shopify, are you starting to see the advantages of my system over these other systems that are out there that I've tried? Okay, yes, it's more passive, the profits are way bigger, and it's a lot easier to do as well. So here's where you're going to see how to skip the 9 to 10 months that it took me to figure this out. You know, my story was full of trial and error failures and lost money and lost time and frustration. I'm going to hand you to the part where I discovered this win button. Okay, we're going to take it from there. I'm going to break this down on the call, so have your pen and paper ready. Now, the first cornerstone of this is what I was doing between 2017 to 2018. This is what I like to call the free method, and I was able to scale this free method to $1,000 a day. Now, I call this a free method because you don't have to pay for any traffic to do this. You can get started within the next 24 hours.